In 1974, four mothers came together because there was no support for people with tuberous sclerosis complex. They felt isolated and alone. Eventually, these mothers founded the National Tuberous Sclerosis Association, now known as the Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance. The Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance is dedicated to finding a cure for tuberous sclerosis complex, or TSC, while improving the lives of those affected. Over the years, we've expanded our mission to improve quality of life for individuals and families affected by TSC through ongoing research, support services, and education programs to increase awareness. The TS Alliance envisions a world where no one has to endure the devastating effects of tuberous sclerosis complex. Therefore, we initiated Unlock the Cure, a campaign to fund the next wave of scientific breakthroughs with a goal to raise $5 million within 3 years. Since 2011, we've obtained $3.6 million. These funds are helping us implement research needed to move potential treatments from the lab to the TSC community through a drug discovery program, biomarker identification, increased funding for organization-supported research, developing a clinical research network, and expanding our TSC natural history database. Since 1984, the TS Alliance has funded $17.4 million in support of TSC research. Because of our advocacy for research and promoting young investigators, we funded and cultivated a new generation of scientists. Due to the strength of grassroots volunteers, more than $165 million has been spent on TSC research since 2003 from federal funding sources. Recent TSC research breakthroughs mean tangible differences. More broadly, scientists and medical professionals now know without a doubt TSC is the linchpin disease. Insights gained from the study of TSC directly impact our understanding of epilepsy, autism, diabetes, and even cancer. TS Alliance is effective for the following reasons. 1, we have a defined strategic plan for which we measure progress, results, and impact annually. 2, we have committed grassroots community, staff, and board. 3, science and research over the years have made a real difference, and now there's real hope for those we serve. The board creates specific annual goals that help support the longer-range objectives of our strategic plan. These goals are tangible and measurable and are reviewed by the board several times throughout the year. Additionally, the staff compiles an extensive annual State of the TSC Communities report, which provides information on the multiple ways the organization impacts communities and states. This report provides a baseline of where things stand and also help identify areas where the TS Alliance can strengthen identification of individuals with TSC, as well as areas that need greater support and information. Finally, every staff member's key performance objectives are tied to the annual goals and the overall strategic plan. TSC is not a well-known disease, even though it's just as common as Lou Gehrig's disease. It's also the leading genetic cause of both epilepsy and autism, which is something the research community knows, but not the public at large. TS Alliance-funded research helped identify the 2 genes responsible for causing TSC, helped create a genetic test for the disease, and provided seed money for clinical trials. In fact, TSC is one of the few genetic diseases in which the genes have been identified, the function of the genes and their protein products have been elucidated, and significant opportunities exist to understand and treat the specific manifestations of the disease. In 2010, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the first drug specifically for TSC that shrinks brain tumors. In 2012, the FDA approved a second indication for this drug to shrink kidney tumors associated with TSC. Like any rare disease organization, the TS Alliance relies on the generosity of our donors and our TSC community. Grassroots events have traditionally accounted for anywhere from 40 to 65% of our budget, and it's important to our organization to grow gifts from major donors and foundations in order to alleviate the pressure on our constituents. We could fund more research and offer additional support programs. The interest in TSC research is growing, and we are unfortunately only able to fund a small portion of the grant requests we get each year. More funding would certainly help us in that regard. For example, in 2013, we received more than 40 grant requests, but we were only able to fund 4. These awards are important because they help attract young investigators who often end up building their careers around TSC research. We also want to fund research that will lead to increased quality of life for those we serve. One critical need to further our understanding of TSC is a biorepository. We and TSC researchers from around the world recognize the next step toward improving outcomes for individuals with TSC is to understand the biology underlying the extreme variability of manifestations. A TSC biosample repository, accessible to qualified researchers everywhere, will enable us to take that next step. High-quality biosamples linked to detailed clinical data are required for researchers to understand why TSC is so different from person to person. Such samples are currently unavailable, so we will work toward creating a biorepository in the near future.